Always great catching up with my next guest, John Castaneda, is going to be back in action, UFC Fight Night, June 3rd. It's right around the corner. John, how are you, man?
James, I'm doing well, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Is this sort of the ideal time to be back and taking a fight right now, or were you hoping to get one in a little bit sooner?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I was, I went to Thailand back in January in anticipation to fight like May, but this is, right on par with that. Early May was my goal, but June 3rd is just as good. So we're ready. We're ready to go. Camp is going great. So we're ready to rock.
What brought you out to Thailand?
To be honest, just kind of word of mouth. I heard just about the Hickman brothers, and I was doing a little bit of training out there at Bang Tao. Actually, a lot of training. I went there for almost 12 weeks, almost 3 months, and spent from January until basically the end of March there. And I got back, and then just picked up right where I left off. So it was a really good change of scene, good change of partners. The Hickman brothers are amazing. Jiu-jitsu coach Alex Shields over there. It's really great energy. And then to be able to kind of pick up on some good habits and then bring them back home and finish camp strong, it felt good.
What was the connection to the Hickman brothers? How'd you end up training there? You said word of mouth. Who kind of, let you know about it?
Yeah, my wrestling coach, actually, Joseph Deshoe, he personally actually just he did a little bit of training over at Tiger when it was still Tiger Muay Thai. Or, I'm sorry, when those coaches were still like Tiger Muay Thai. I don't know if you know a little bit about Bang Tao, but all of those coaches, I think all the Hickman brothers, the strength coach Woody, Alex Shields, they all were at Tiger, and now they moved over and opened up Bang Tao. And so he had that connection. And then we were basically, I think it's a fairly fresh gym. It's, maybe just over a year old. So that was the connection, just a little bit of training from Tiger. And then coaches left, opened up their own gym, and we wanted to check it out. And I immediately fell in love with not only the training, but the weather. It's super humid and hot out there, and just the 3-minute walk to practice, and I'm already warm and ready to go. So definitely days from Minnesota, although it is warming up here in Minnesota as well.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I just and I hear so many good things about Thailand. I hear you basically, you wake up, it's nice and warm out, you go to training, and then all the food's cheap and it's all fresh, and it's it really is ideal for a lot of fighters. The only problem is it's just so long to get out there, right? The travel.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think I had a flight from Minneapolis to Doha, and then a quick little layover, and then Doha to Phuket. So I think maybe 23 hours total, 24 hours of travel time. So yeah, it's obviously not ideal, but super worth it, man. Once you're there and after a week or a little bit over a week, you're acclimated. It's amazing. It's the best training I've ever had, for sure.
Love it. Okay. And any plans to go back after this?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to split my camps, every single fight. I just got to time it better, just because of the time zone difference. I think it's 13 hours ahead over there. So, obviously I can't go do camp and then fly into Las Vegas in a week, you know what I mean? And then kind of fight over here. So with a little bit of planning and stuff like that, yeah, I absolutely intend to do more training out there for sure.
What did you learn the most from that last fight against Daniel Santos?
To quit any sort of side job that I have. So I was working actually full time. Actually, my whole UFC career, I've been working full time. So I was working 40 to 45 hours a week, training for 30 to 35 hours a week. So between both, I was, busy 80 hours a week. With that, it doesn't matter the environment, but I think that I was getting very little sleep, which for an athlete, that's supposed to be at the highest level, you need that sleep for recovery. Your immune system is up when you're well rested and stuff like that. But I felt like I was always injured. I always had little nagging injuries. I was always sick. 3 weeks before that last fight, I had strep throat. So I was on antibiotics all the way up until a week out. And that's actually the whole reason behind the catch weight, because I felt like maybe the antibiotics held on to a little bit more water than I anticipated. So, I would have made the 36 mark for sure. But I was just doing my due diligence, and a week out, I was like, hey, I'm running a little bit heavy. This is the reason. Here's my paperwork that shows you I was on antibiotics, whatever. Is there any way that you guys would do a catch weight? And for sure they agreed to it. But anyways, long story short, I think just going all in is the thing that I learned the most. Like I said, I was trying to balance 2 different full-time jobs, basically my whole entire UFC career. But ever since this past December, I'm no longer working. So I'm fully committed to MMA. Training's been going great. Recovery's been going great. Weight cut process has been going a lot smoother because I'm able to sleep, and everything's just good. Everything's good. So I guess to answer your question, just focus on the things that are important.
Well, yeah, you had a lot going into that fight. Like I didn't even know about the full-time job thing. We've been doing interviews forever. Maybe I just forgot to ask or something. I don't know. I didn't even know that. So that's crazy. And then I just, the other thing, and I didn't realize this until after the fight. I know that you and your significant other had split as well. So there must have been a lot of pressure going into that fight too, just because you're dealing with all these different things, and a lot of it doesn't even have to do with fighting.
For sure. No, absolutely. And yeah, it's all outside of the fight game that kind of hinders every once in a while. But no, everything's good now. My outside of MMA life is at peace. And we're a lot more focused now, for sure, which is, sometimes it takes something like that to kind of like, hey man, like, what are you doing?
Put things in perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason, so like I had mentioned that 3 weeks prior to that Santos fight, I had strep throat, but then after the fight, I could not catch my breath. My lungs were on fire. My throat was killing me. So I went to the doctor that very next day, and I had an upper respiratory infection. And that's really what it did for me. I was like, man, like, why am I always sick? I'm literally always sick. Well, I know why I'm sick. I felt like it was kind of hard for me to leave that other place of employment just because of like the amount of money I was making, I guess. And I like you said, it puts things into perspective, and I was like, what are the things that I value? What are the things that are important to me? And that's obviously my passion, which is MMA, and obviously being, ever since I started this sport, my goal was to be in the UFC, and so it's time to kind of take it to the next level and take it more serious,
Yeah, and going all in, which is great, man. So you mentioned, so yeah, we haven't even talked about your opponent, I should say. 10-1 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Yeah, obviously he trains at the same gym that Daniel Santos trains at. They're good training partners, I'm assuming. I think he's got stylistically like a similar style. He comes out kind of very aggressive, in your face, pressure fighter. To be honest, I think he's going to be just another Daniel Santos. I think he's pushes the pace. I don't think that he's as strong in the wrestling category. And I think he's a little bit smaller too. I think, just kind of looking at him, I guess I haven't really seen him in person, but just looking at side-by-side pictures of Santos and him, side by side, I think Santos has got a good size advantage on him. Not that matters, but like I said, it's a completely different ballgame. I feel like it would have been a completely different fight with Santos if I was healthy, if I was in the right mindset, if I was, doing things the correct way. So hopefully I can bounce back with this one and kind of, I almost look at this fight as like a shot at redemption with Santos, just because they're teammates. They're I'm sure they're friends, same camp, same coaches will be in the corner. So it's like my little like chip on my shoulder, like little shot at redemption.
Training camp. So we talked about Thailand. Who'd you get to train with down there? And then what about camp back home? Who do you get to work with?
Yeah. So I went to Thailand, and I got to work with the Hickman brothers and their strength coach over there, Woody. I think the coach that I kind of did the most work with was Alex Shields, a jiu-jitsu coach. Man, I feel like my strong suits on in jiu-jitsu, he kind of just like amplified it because that's his strong suits, and it kind of just like was a really good connection and a really good relationship there. And I feel like my jiu-jitsu kind of elevated, which is weird because I went to Thailand and you would think like, oh, your Muay Thai is going to be super sharp when you come back, which I did obviously, increase my overall game. But I think the biggest things that increased skill wise were definitely like my jiu-jitsu when I came back, and my wrestling too. So I'm super excited. Like I said, I picked up some really good habits there and brought them back home. And as soon as I got back home, Rose Namajunas was at the gym here at the academy. And so that was really good energy with Pat Barry and, Chico Camus, who she always brings along. And then just my normal training partners, Griffin Perriott, Quang Lee, a lot of young up and comers like we've talked about before. Quang just signed with Iridium. So I'm sure that any day now you'll be interviewing him for his UFC debut. He's an up and comer for sure. But yeah, it's just been really good energy, really good. Like I said, I picked up some really good habits from Thailand and just implemented them here back at home, and we're ready to rock.
Love it. How's the weight right now?
Good. It's honestly, so where I'm at weight wise right now, which is 4 weeks out, I'm usually 2 weeks out. So I'm not saying I'm 2 weeks ahead of the curve, but I feel very good about my weight for sure.
Well said. And your corner, who will be in the cage with you?
Yeah, so we're gonna go with Joseph Deschutes, my wrestling coach, and then my striking coach Nat McIntyre, and then obviously Greg Nelson, my head coach. So
that's great. And how's this one playing out on June 3rd?
I think that I weather the storm early. I think that he definitely comes out strong. I think that, like I said, I'm going to be able to nullify his pressure with my wrestling and my pressure as well. He's going to get a little tired, and then I'm going to show what I can do in the cardio game. I'm sure like I said, it could be good, could be bad for them, but I'm sure they have their game plan figured out. I just fought their teammate. I'm sure they anticipate what's my strengths, what's my weaknesses, but little do they know I was really sick and in a bad spot that last fight. So it's going to be a completely different me. They're not going to be able to kind of like game plan for what I got coming.
We lost you for a second there, John, but glad to see you back. I was just going to ask you as we were wrapping things up here, what's the current status of your UFC contract? Do you have a couple fights left, or what's the latest on that?
Yeah. So obviously a little bit of extra motivation, but while Daniel Santos was my last one on my fight, on my initial fight contract. And I was in Thailand when I actually got re-signed. So I got an additional 4 now. So we're nice. Kind of on a fresh new contract. This will be the first one of my next 4. So
congrats, man. And that doesn't happen often after a loss. So you got to be feeling good about that and a little bit of a boost going into this fight.
For sure. I think that, obviously they see a little bit of potential, and my manager, obviously he's always doing his thing. Jason House with Iridium Sports. He's the man. But also, I think it speaks volumes to, just kind of I'm putting on exciting fights, and that's kind of what this company is looking for right now. So I'm very, very pleased with it.
And we're looking forward to it, man. June 3rd, UFC Fight Night. John, if there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, just a big thank you to Bang Tao MMA and Muay Thai, obviously in Phuket. All the coaches over there, the Hickman brothers, Woody, Coach Alex, all you guys. Everybody back home here, the academy, Greg Nelson, Nat McIntyre, Joseph, all my training partners. It's going to be a good fight. Obviously my management team, Iridium Sports, for obviously getting me back in there, and we're ready to prove ourselves that we belong here, with the second contract and, a fresh, clear mind outside of MMA. So